All right, so there we go. We have now finally seen that move up for Bitcoin. It was obviously quite an obvious one that we were talking about on the YouTube channel, and this does now mean that on our fourth attempt, we are exactly where we ended up last time. And the question now is, will we be able to rise higher? You see, last time we ended up finding a little bit of resistance pretty quickly, and the market just really dropped down pretty shortly afterwards. Let's take a look at this and see the differences between right now. So you take a look at this from our high to our low that we set in 12 hours. The market managed to drop down by 5.7%. Now it's only been about 5 hours since we've hit this range already, but so far I feel like we are showing some slightly better signs of strength. And of course, given that this is a new attack at resistance, I'm also pretty optimistic about it. So the questions now really are revolving around how high can this thing go. I've been talking about how Ethereum was leading the market. Take a look at this. Ethereum breaking its resistance level against Bitcoin. Ladies and gents, the analysis continuing to come in absolutely perfectly. If you've been enjoying what we've been putting out on this YouTube channel, then do me a massive favor, shoot up those likes and double check that you are actually subscribed, because if you're not going to be getting this content when you need it. But we are seeing some really nice gains for Ethereum. Take a look at this against the dollar. You guys know my target. It's right up in this box, and we are following it very nicely indeed. I mean, this is very poetic, just how quickly we've ended up following on with my targets right here. And I don't think that it's going to be anything different for Bitcoin. I do think that Bitcoin is pretty much just lagging behind Ethereum right now. However, seeing that we've managed to do all of this is a very good sign, because one of the big things this means for Bitcoin now is, see, all of these areas, especially this line right here that we were finding resistance at, should now be acting as support. It doesn't mean it will, but that's generally what you would expect when you look at chart patterns like this. And obviously that's quite exciting, because if we are looking at a situation where Bitcoin is going to be having support at some of these price levels, well, then there's a lot of buffer for Bitcoin to keep rising up, and we can already see the beginning of that. We had our beautiful 1 hour Ichimoku cloud, bam, look at how we bounced off that. We had our 4 hour EMA ribbon, bam, look at how we bounced off that. Each of these areas of support are going to be continuing to stretch higher and higher, and that obviously makes this very exciting to be trading. I was actually in a trade where I was showing VIPs that I'd want to trade this. I actually want to show you this. I've never actually done this before on a video, but let me just show you what this looks like inside of VIP. The first post that I made when I told you guys in VIP that I wanted to trade Bitcoin right here was that I wanted to set some risky long orders for Bitcoin if it manages to rise above resistance right here. But I later changed that plan. And I actually decided to enter a little bit lower, but I still had cold feet. I was telling VIPs about why I haven't decided to enter the trade yet. You can just pause the video. I don't want to bore you with the details. But this is just to show you that real-time nature of VIP. I mean, you can see the times that these posts were fired off. I mean, it's all throughout the day, exactly as my ideas are developing. People ask me, does my time zone matter? No, it doesn't. I don't trade on short time frames, so I mean, you could be anywhere in the world and you would get my updates at a reasonable time. And when I finally decided to enter the trade, it was right here, and it was because the market finally started to show us some better signs that, just gave me a little bit more confidence that the market could be rising up. And obviously, yeah, we know exactly how that went. So that's all been going down inside of 4Fly's VIP. If you want to get yourself inside and see exactly how you were able to pull this off, and continue to watch me in this trade, because I'm going to be talking about this a little bit later on in this video, just about how high I think Bitcoin can go, so just stick around for that. Then you can join VIP by following these steps on screen right here. It's the first link in the description down below, followed by the @4Flies button, and then send message to ask me how to join. This has been a very big trade so far. I'm already in like 35% profit, something like that. So that's pretty impressive, considering the whole move was only about 6%. So hugely outperforming the market right there. Again, I mean, all the tutorials on how I do this and why I've selected what I've selected and so on, the really in-depth explanations of everything, plus the actual raw details of what I'm doing, they're all inside of VIP. So get yourself inside now if you don't want to miss out on what's coming up next. Obviously, lots more to do here. Like I said, I don't think that there's going to be particularly heavy resistance in this range, just from our key kind of psychological and horizontal levels. The problem is that obviously we do have resistance on our very large time frames here, like for example the daily Ichimoku cloud and the daily EMA ribbon, which we are battling a lot right now. So this is really the only resistance that I'm concerned about, and I think that's a good thing. You know, I mean, if there's only one real area on this chart that I'm concerned about in terms of resistance, well, that's a pretty good start in my opinion. You know, I mean, I'm quite happy with that. I do think that only having one thing to worry about is better than having, say, 5 things to worry about as far as resistance goes. And so I am optimistic to see how that might look. And if we take a look at Ethereum once again, you know, the thing is, I feel like this is just giving us so many clues for us to where Bitcoin can go. Ethereum has already pumped up 15% above its ascending triangle. You know, if we take a look at the same ascending triangle that I had drawn for you guys, remember how I was saying, by the way, just a few videos ago, that we are right at the breakout point for this ascending triangle now? Anywhere between 66 to 75%, just roughly eyeballing it. Bam, there it is. If it starts here and it ends here, then this is roughly, I would definitely say this is somewhere between 66 to 75% of the pennant completion. So very, very impressive. This was our breakout point, and you know, if Bitcoin matches Ethereum's gain, which it won't do, if Bitcoin is probably going to come in a little bit less than that, so let's say, like, yeah, I don't know, 12%, 11% would be reasonable. You know, that still puts us up at about $24,000, and really I think this is kind of the next level that I want to see reclaimed. The first thing Bitcoin needs to do is it needs to get above this prior high. We've already done that with a wick, but I want to see a proper candle body close on, you know, the 1 hour, 4 hour time frame. Sorry about that, pardon me. I want to see a real close, you know, above this high right here to tell me that we're back in the game. But of course, we are still trading within this rising channel. So this is still inherently a bearish pattern. This is something that I've been warning you guys about a lot. And at the rate that we're tackling this, let's actually just see where are we going to end up roughly. I mean, this is roughly putting us at about 23.4, where we could expect a little bit of resistance. And again, this is an area that we know there is some resistance at. Again, if you follow this box back all the way to early 2021, or end of 2020, actually, my bad. You know, this was exactly the range that Bitcoin was consolidating in before it ended up blowing up. And again, those of you who are in VIP back here would remember, I mean, we were just constantly ripping the market right here, pulled a ridiculous 380% profit on the part of my position that was still open. And a little bit before that, pulled another crazy trade right here, which was a similarly huge, I mean, it was ridiculous profit. I can't remember, but it was a lot of money. Again, all of those things went into VIP. We've been around doing this for years now, so this is definitely you know, something that's been pretty well established. And if you want to get your piece of that pie, then yeah, see how it's been going on for people on the other side. This is it's a very, very fun time to be in VIP. And of course, I just want to remind you guys that I made this trade on Bybit, right? This is the only exchange that I'm using to make these trades for the most part. You know, it's the place that I feel safest to put my money and so on. So if you want to check them out, use that link in the description. I spoke to Bybit and asked them if they could extend that very, very big offer of more than $4,000 for you guys if you sign up using my link, and they said yes. So they haven't said yes to me before. I've asked them this many times. This is the first time they actually listened to me and extended the bonus. So you know, because I know a lot of you guys have been enjoying getting all that free cash. If you haven't done it yet and you want to get your piece, again, the link is in the description to sign up to Bybit, where you can get over $4,000 and trade on the same platform that I'm using. And they have, I mean, everything under the sun that you could want to trade. They've got all the spot stuff, they've got all the margin stuff, they've got all the derivative stuff. I mean, it is a lot of stuff on Bybit. So this is definitely the place you need to be. But yeah, this area of resistance potentially being a problem for Bitcoin. But the thing is, if you look at how far Bitcoin has come now, you know, I'm just not sure that this area is going to be able to stop Bitcoin. I mean, yeah, maybe we get a bit of a temporary rejection, but I'm just not really expecting anything particularly catastrophic, especially considering, again, just where all the various readings in the market are. You know, I haven't spoken about it too much recently, but, you know, fear and greed rating still at 20. Now, obviously, this is going to shoot up when, you know, it updates in 10 hours if Bitcoin is able to hold these prices, or if it rises higher. However, you know, what we are looking at is still, I mean, a lot of room for the market to rise up. You guys have heard me saying constantly that as long as we're kind of below 40, below the neutral area, you know, I still think there's a lot of room for Bitcoin to be rising higher. So, the thing to keep in mind is that we really only had this area as resistance, a little bit over here, but there's not much resistance. There's basically nothing in between these. In fact, I'll prove this to you. Let me just take on a different chart. Right here, 24 to 28K. Focus on this $4,000 gap. Now, I know this might not sound like a lot, but this is, like what, 18%? It's a 17-16% range. It's quite a substantial range, really, as far as trading range goes. And if you look at what's happened in between these two price levels, guess what? Fuck all. Absolutely nothing's happened within these two price ranges. Look, between 24 and 28, the market zipped straight up, and on the way down, the market zipped straight down, right? It's poetic. It really is. And so what that means to me is if we're able to cross this line, it's just an instant fucking snap up to 28, unless there's some really big, scary resistance that ends up becoming a problem very suddenly. And of course, we can't really predict those things. This can just happen. Bitcoin, at the end of the day, is still quite a highly manipulated market. Let's not forget about the facts, ladies and gents. But at the end of the day, the bottom line here, I think, is that there's not a whole lot standing in the way of Bitcoin continuing to rise up. Sentiment wise, we've got everything we need. In terms of being oversold, we've got everything we need. The market really has been due for some sort of a significant pullback for a long time now, and to see that we're potentially coming out of a pattern like this, I think would just be so poetic. And I definitely think that we could end up capturing resistance here and continuing the bear market lower. And right now it's pretty easy to talk about that, but if we did end up actually getting up here, I think a lot of people would start believing that the market is indeed going to continue to rally up. I think that on the world stage, there's going to be good reasons to believe that indices could be due for a bit of a rally and so on, because they've also been completely shot. Okay, look at the S&P 500 from its all-time high down to where it is right now, down by 19%, down to its low, down by 24%. I know these are small numbers to us, but this is a big, big deal. You're talking about a collection of 500 of the biggest companies in the United States. That's the strongest, biggest economy in the world. And you're talking about their top companies, and it's down by 24 to 19%. This is a big, big deal. So a lot of these things potentially due for a rally. There is a huge macroeconomic discussion to be had about this, but like I said, I'm saving those details just for VIP. I don't want to be talking about that publicly just yet. So if you do want to hear what I have to say about that, I'll probably make a big post about it later on today, just for VIP members. It's a lot of very crucial background information. And to be clear, I'm not an economist. I've only been trading for about 5 years, and to be fair, 5 years is a very long time, but as an economist, it's a totally different thing. So I'm not the person to listen to when it comes to information about the broader economy and the dollar and the indices and so on, but I feel like I have a better grasp on this than the average person, and that's just because I spend my life studying this stuff. But look at this, the dollar also dropping right now while this is happening for Bitcoin. That's absolutely beautiful. The dollar is obviously trading right now. This index is moving right now, so that is phenomenal. Just as this index is dropping, we are seeing money flooding into Bitcoin, which is absolutely beautiful. Let's see how gold is doing. Is gold open? Yeah, gold is also on a little bit of a move up, fell all the way down to the bottom of this $1,700 range, but now seeing a little bit of a bounce. Obviously, it's mostly been asleep, and I'm sure it will continue to be asleep. It's been a very disappointing commodity, but it is something to look at nonetheless. Bitcoin, like I said, really just stealing the whole show, though, and like I said, I just don't see there being much. So what I'm going to be looking for primarily are signs that the market is actually running out of steam, and right now I'm not seeing those signs. I want to point out two very important things to you. Number one, when this rally initially began, take a look at the volume that we had right here. We had some nice volume for this rally, and now that we've gotten the breakout, take a look at the volume again. So if you just focus on these orange lines are what give you the average of the volume in the market. The orange lines were trending up as the market initiated this uptrend, and the orange line is trending up again when we got the breakout. So that did happen last time. This is actually pretty standard when we get big bits of price movement, but it's a good sign that kind of backs up what we're seeing and tells us that this is potentially a bit of price action that's going to stick. And put it this way, it's better to have it than not to have it. So I'm liking what I'm seeing right here. Again, we look at where our resistance levels are with this rising channel. Obviously, we're still in an inherently very bearish pattern, but guys, what happens if we break 23.4? Like I said, I don't think that this is going to be strong resistance, and this is going to conclusively take us out of one of our last bearish patterns within this short to mid-term time frame. Obviously, the way these markets reverse, the way we potentially enter a bull market, is that first, the short-term market becomes bullish, then the mid-term market becomes bullish, and then the long-term market becomes bullish. Okay, that's how it works. When we're trying to switch the market bias, short-term moves first, then mid-term, and then long-term. And what we're seeing right now is obviously the short-term has been very strong for quite a while, ever since the low, but mid-term, we're now potentially about to, we're doing things right now that are quite significant, like managing to rise above that prior high. Again, like I said, I need to see something a little bit more significant than this because we didn't really get conclusively above it, but all this is going to take is a little bit of an extra pump. And the thing that you guys need to keep in mind is that because this range between, that I was showing you here, between 24 and 28K, has basically no liquidity, because there was no price action between these ranges all throughout Bitcoin's history. That means there's probably not going to be many people who are trading the market between this range. Okay, so what that means is that if there's, a set number of Bitcoins that people want to sell right here, the order books are gonna be very thin, and so if people actually buy those bitcoins, there's not going to be any bitcoins available at 25k. There's not going to be any bitcoins available at 26k. There's not going to be any bitcoins available at 27k, and so buyers need to keep moving up and up and up in those order books until eventually you reach the next order block. This is what order blocks are called, where you have a block of orders where a lot of people want to trade the market at a particular price level. And my argument here is that we are not going to see any significant order blocks between 24 to 28k because we never had it in the past. We never had it on the way down. We never had it on the way up, and so I don't think we're going to have it again. It's just generally how the market goes, and these make for very, very predictable trading ranges. But the good news here is that I actually think that this broadly applies to this entire range. All right, between 24 and 28, it's very obvious, but between 22 and 28, it's still there. I still think that this is the case, and it's one of the reasons that I'm in this trade on Bitcoin. Now, like I said, I moved my stop loss to break even, right? I'm going to continue to watch this as it develops, and I can sit very easy now that I know I'm totally risk-free. The first thing I did when I woke up, I moved my stop loss to break even. This is the 𝗪𝗪𝗏 risk management that you guys know me for. This is what made me well known in the first place back in 2018, is because I'm just very careful with where I put my money, and I don't like to lose money. Fuck me, right? I know it sounds revolutionary in these markets. I prefer not losing money, but these are kind of the factors that I've got in my mind while I'm looking at Bitcoin potentially rising higher. And like I said, what I need to see now are, I want to see some signs that I'm wrong. I'm looking for signs that the market does not have the momentum it needs to carry itself higher. I'm looking for signs that show me perhaps a little bit of weakness. But right now, ladies and gents, we take a look at these 4-hour candles. We've made a big move up and we're slowly trending down. This is exactly what you want to see. Look at this. We make a nice move up. We slowly move down, make a nice move up. And in these cases, to be fair, we actually moved down roughly with the same speed that we moved up. But you can see that we were setting these higher lows in the market, right? And we're kind of potentially getting ready to do the same thing again. If we just took a rocket ship up, I would be a little bit more concerned. But the fact that the market is actually pulling back in some relatively decent ways, and slower than last time, by the way. I just want to make this point very, very clear. You take a look at how the market moved last time. Its next 4-hour candles, the market dropped by 4%, right? In this case, we haven't done that. We've only dropped by 2.7. I'm just trying to show you all the little ways that we have more strength this time, so this is something that could turn into something quite fun. Of course, yes, we are still in a bear market. Macro, we're still in a bear market, and if we start losing support levels, we shouldn't be too surprised. But right now, my level to beat is going to be this. If we lose 21.7, yeah, I'm going to lose a lot of my bullish bias. That's going to be a big setback for the market, and I don't think the ascending triangle is going to be in play anymore. I don't think that this support area at 21,000 is going to be in play anymore. I think a lot of bad things would happen if Bitcoin managed to lose this level right here. But for now, that hasn't happened, and we are holding fairly strong above it. We are holding fairly strong above it, right? We can dump down a little bit. We can even come back down and test it. Totally fine. It's just as long as we don't conclusively lose this area, I'm good with the market. You know, I'm not too worried. And again, I look at things like Ethereum, which really are leading the market. Guys, Ethereum would not be mooning this hard if people didn't want to speculate, right? So if people want to speculate on coins like Ethereum, and if Ethereum occasionally does have a tendency to lead Bitcoin, I don't know, you tell me. You tell me. It just, to me, it looks like one of the most typical setups that I've seen happen so many times in this market before. That's why I spoke about it with maybe even too much confidence yesterday. I probably shouldn't have been as confident as I was. That was a mistake on my part. So I put my hands up and apologize there, because I'm supposed to be delivering level-headed analysis to you guys. That's my promise. And obviously, if I'm being very confident, I'm being less level-headed. But at the same time, I mean, you know, what I say about being a trader is, you know, you have to be completely unbiased and remain totally objective until you commit to a trade. And at that point, you have to be 100% biased. You have to be 100% subjective, because otherwise you won't make any money. So it's just one of those natural, confusing parts of the market right here that obviously make it very, very exciting. So there's a couple more pieces of content that I want to bring to you guys probably later on throughout the day today. Just make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss it. I want to talk to you about the 200-week moving average. That's something which I haven't had a chance to speak about on this video for Bitcoin. Ethereum has recovered its 200-week moving average. Bitcoin, I don't believe, has recovered it, but I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. And I might want to talk a little bit more about targets in general for Bitcoin as well. So there's some very, very important content coming up. If you don't know about the 200-week moving average, then you definitely need to watch that next video, because it's a very, very important, it's one of the most important indicators for Bitcoin in its whole life, in my opinion. And that is, and we're basically right at it right now. So it's a super, super important video that's coming at you guys later on today. Meanwhile, if you want to jump inside of VIP, if you're sick of missing out, then get yourself inside by following the first link in the description down below. Then click on the @4flies button within my free Telegram channel and send message to ask me how to join. Super, super straightforward. It's the first link down below, and it takes you into my free channel where you get more analysis from me and my team free of charge. So if you like these YouTube videos, if you like the fact that these YouTube videos are free, you get a lot more inside of Telegram, and it all goes straight to your phone. You're never going to miss a notification. Obviously, we don't spam you or anything like that. And crucially, you're going to get it as it's time sensitive. You know, when it needs to be seen is when you get to see it. And it's not like YouTube in that way. You know, that's why I tell you guys at the end of these videos to smash up the like, subscribe, tick the bell and all that stuff, because you want to do everything you can to make sure you get this time sensitive content ASAP. And of course, that is something that we're able to give you on Telegram. So definitely check that out. And like I said, Bybit has extended this huge offer, so please take advantage of it while you can. The link is in the description down below. It's free money. You don't have to do anything. The sign up process is super quick. You would in fact, I made a tutorial video which I posted in I posted something about this in 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 Gold a couple of days ago, and in that link you can see a tutorial video of how to claim your over $4,000 in bonuses, and the sign up process literally on camera took me maybe a minute. I mean, it was the slowest part of the sign up process was getting the verification code from my email. I mean, it's super quick, and obviously that was within seconds as well. So a very impressive process there. If you do want to get yourself some free money, just check it out with the link in the description down below. But with that, ladies and gents, I'm going to be heading off for this video. I'll see you all later on today. Thank you all so much for your support. Yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.